Capitol Hoops, continuing our series Beyond the X's and O's. Today we are at Central High School with head coach Lawrence Pugh. Coach Pugh, we look forward to getting to know you a little better and
Yes.
learn a little bit more about your basketball makeup.
Thank you. Welcome to Central High School, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Glad to have you here.
Appreciate it. Let me ask you first just on a little background of yourself. I know you've had a lot of success at Central here. This past season was a magical run for you guys, but I want to get a little background on yourself, where you grew up, what sports you played growing up, etc.
Well, I'm from the DMV. I grew up in Temple Hills, Maryland, Oxon Hill, Maryland. Coming from a single family household. My mom having 3 kids, 3 boys working double jobs at night. It was hard for her and myself. So started out in public school, then eventually I was able to go to private school in high school. I attended Archbishop Carroll High School from 1988 to 1992. Funny thing is, my primary sport was football. In high school, I did play 4 years of football, 2 years of basketball, and 3 years of baseball. You won't believe it, but I did play. I was the first baseman. I wasn't doing much running and doing. I just caught the ball. And I was a good hitter. So in high school, I was fortunate, to play with a lot of great guys that went on professionally. You all might know, have great coaches. My freshman year, the varsity coach was Mars Collins, who eventually migrated down to bottom of the hill of Gonzaga, because we at the top of the hill at Archbishop Carroll.
Okay.
After that, we have Mr. Tim Breslin, and my final year, we had just got Mr. Sam Taylor. My high school year was blessed with great coaches, guys who knew the game, who cared about their players, who also cared about education. I played, you won't believe this, first 3 years in high school, I was a quarterback. Freshman, sophomore year, I started on the freshman JV team. I was able to go to varsity, but JV needed a quarterback. But my junior year, I played behind George McDaniels, who played for Syracuse. My freshman year, Marvin Graves was the starting quarterback, also went to Syracuse. My junior year, I was a quarterback. Then my senior year, I came into camp as a starting quarterback, but I lost my job to Al Clark. His legacy with the Virginia Tech. Before Michael Vick, there was Al Clark. So I played behind guys like that. I also played with guys, Javon Langford, who played for Cincinnati Bengals, Jamal Williams, San Diego Chargers, Phil Savoy played at Colorado, Dennis at Colorado, Kevin Lewis, who played at Navy. So we had a great team. Even my year, Leroy White, Buddy, played with West Virginia, was running back for West Virginia. So I played football 4 years with Carroll. I got second team all conference as a center. After Carroll, coming out of school, I only had 1 or 2 looks. Now my freshman year I had 3 interest letters: Brown, Illinois, and Duquesne. And then I guess I never lost the weight.
And this is for football.
All for football.
Okay.
I'll tell you about basketball in a second. It's all for football.
Okay.
And so coming out of college, on my freshman, sophomore year, I had some interest letters from Brown, Duquesne, and Illinois. It was kind of hype, stuck on myself, but I really didn't put the time in the off season. I was getting bigger and bigger. In high school, I was 235 as a quarterback. And I could hear Coach Kling and Paylene, you need to lose some weight.
Did I hear you say you played quarterback and then you went to play center?
In 1 year, freshman, sophomore, and junior. My freshman, sophomore, I was starting quarterback. My first 2 years, I threw about 42 touchdowns. My junior year, I came behind George McDaniels because he was starting ahead of me. Of course, he went to Syracuse. In my senior year, I came into camp under the new coach, Sam Taylor, who put the run and shoot back in 91, 92, when Houston Oilers was running. And I can shoot, but I couldn't run. And so eventually Al Clark took that starting position. So for me, when I played my senior year, I made that transition to center. And so coming out of my senior year, I had a D3 school looking at me, which the only one I probably wasn't going to go to was Capitol University.
Okay.
So when I left Carroll, I attended Capitol University to play football. But when I was in high school, I played basketball, JV, I didn't want to go for varsity because I was too nervous. First of all, even though we had a great coach, great coach, legend coach, Carl Holmes, who I mocked myself and I patted myself after to this day as a basketball coach. Carl Holmes taught us so much more than basketball, about being a man, about being responsible, and about being a leader as a man, especially as a black man. But even though he instilled all those skills and things, I also was still skilled to coach for him, to play for him. Because I remember sometimes him being on the sidelines being intense, getting our smacking us in the helmet. Let's go for football. I said, I don't want to play with this man in basketball. He crazy. And then also in gym class, he said, make sure you have your cups on because we have to wear cups. He'll check.
Oh, man.
And you know what I'm talking about. He'll check. And so I played 1 or 2 years of JV under Ben Stevens.
Okay.
Good guy. And I remember the first time I made his team, I was a high head. I ran my mouth a lot. And he pulled me to the side in the room, and with him and a guy named Hank Williams, who used to coach the girls volleyball at Riverdale Baptist. They put me in the room and say, look, we're going to keep you on the JV team. However, you keep your attitude and your mouth shut. If not, we're going to cut you off this team. And I learned a lot from them that year. I had some great years playing basketball. I used to play behind people like Quarry Harvey, Herb Jones, the head coach of Virginia Tech, Virginia U now, Jay Butler, and Leon Cunningham, some legends that I played with on the same team.
Okay.
And so, but I was a football player. I wasn't a basketball player. So I went to Capitol University after a year and a half. At that time, football was a business. It wasn't fun anymore for me going to classes in the morning, writing papers in Capitol University. There's no regular old school. So the workload and playing football, I had to pick which one do I care for more. I chose education more so than athletics. So I gave that up, but I wanted to get back to the community. So for me, I was always taught and raised to get back, going to soup kitchens. That was being taught for me at Carroll High School in my class, Spirit Morality, under Mr. Hoderney. So I gave back. I want to get back to the community, so I started coaching and the Rec Boys and Girls Club. I started District Heights Boys and Girls Club in 1993-94. I remember my first basketball team I had, and I chose basketball because it was easier than football. All my friends were still playing college football. I was watching them on Saturday mornings as they play football while I'm at home relaxing, working at Kmart. And so basketball was easy. I could do that by myself. I don't need a lot of people. I don't need to teach skill, technique, so kids won't get hurt. So I can coach a sport where I know kids' health won't be in jeopardy, and I know I can be in control of 100%. But my first team, we went 0-10. We didn't win that one game. And we were losing every game by like 25-30.
And how old were you when you're doing this?
I was about 22.
Okay, so this is after college.
After college,
Okay.
yeah. I was still in college, but I gave up. I stopped playing football.
Right.
So I'm about 22. I started coaching District Heights Boys and Girls Club. We went 0-10. I started second guessing myself. Do I have the means to do this? Like we was losing every night by 25 points. And one night we playing Bradbury Heights, and my kids started fighting each other on the court. Oh. And that was embarrassing. I'm not gonna remember. I remember that day forever. And so I started questioning, is it me? And then someone had to remind me that you doing good for seeing young people like yourself in a neighborhood like that doing positive things, trying to get back. So don't get discouraged. Try your best to keep moving forward. And so the following year, we won 7 games. The following year, we won 8 games. The following year, we had 9 games. So after that, we started winning. And so then, after a while, when things get bored for me, I like new challenges. So I got an assistant coaching job in Howard County at Hammond High School. Okay. And I learned a lot from them, but I'll talk about that later on when we start talking about basketball. Okay. But for me, it's all about giving back to the community. And that's how I started getting into coaching, because I wanted to give back to the community. Where I am today, just by sheer luck.
So let's go to that next coaching job that you had. You went to Hammond High School as an assistant coach. You're, 25, 26, something like that at the time. Mm-hmm. How long were you there, and what was your role there on that team?
Woo! Mark Murray was the head coach. Philip Smith was the assistant coach. I was second assistant. My job was to get there early, set up the gym, stay late, breaking it down, getting the water. I was that assistant where, you look at the coach like, ugh, can't stand that guy. But how I got the job, I had a friend named Tony McCray. He was like, I guess, the first assistant football coach. He and I was working at the same school at Green Valley Elementary in Temple Hills. And we used to get out of school at 1:50 every day. So teachers couldn't leave to 2:30, but they didn't get out of school like 3:30. So it was the time frame we can leave school and get up there on time to go for practice. So he used to go there every single day because he coached football. And he knew I wanted to get into basketball. He knew I was coaching Boys and Girls Club. So he talked to the coach for me. He had me come out there and talk to the coach, interview with the coach, and Coach Marc interviewed me. I remember one day I walked there way out Hammond High. So I'm like, where am I going? Like, Lord, I have basketball out here.
Tell everyone where Hammond High School is.
In Howard County, right over Route 29. Okay. and Columbia. So I went out there, coming from Temple Hills, Iverson Mall, going all the way out to like Columbia Mall. Okay. That's how far I was coming every day after school, 5 days a week.
For a volunteer job.
For a volunteer, non-paid, and I got to be there early to set up, break down, and I have to stay late, break down. And I just got married like a year or two prior. Wow.
Major commitment.
Major. No, you have no idea. No idea. And so, Mark hired me. You know, he brought me on. You know, like I said, I would respond with getting the water, the towels, making all the stuff is ready. Make sure the kids are good. During practice, I was sitting there watching, learning, building sets, plays, how he differentiated his offense and defense for different players on the team. I was just learning my first year, observing, making sure they need water. I was there. Timeouts, I'm looking at timeouts, checking what's fouls, taking the stat guy. I was that guy. I did all, and it was only 3 of us. So when people got them staff like 5 or 6 people, I was doing the job of 3 people. Sometimes we had to wash uniforms. You had to pack stuff, tape them up. I did everything. I did everything.
So how long were you at Hammond for?
I was at Hammond for 2 years.
Okay.
2 years. After the second year, Mark wanted to become he became a principal. Okay. So his last year, he was looking to turn the program over to the field on myself. Speaking to the principal, it was a good deal. I don't think it was fair for those kids, me come from way down. I'm in Marlboro, all we're going to Howard County because I couldn't scout. So I couldn't, go look at the teams. On River Hill, South Hill. I'm not going way out there look at the teams.
You couldn't give them the time that they need.
I couldn't give them the time and dedicated they need. Because I know dedication and commitment, every program needs it. Right. I couldn't give it to them. So I decided not to do. So I came back. At that time, the guy who got me the job out there was coaching down at Ernest Just. He coached Austin Freeman. He had Michael Beasley.
This is a middle school.
Ernest Just Middle School, where Tony McRae was the coach at the time. He had coached Michael Beasley. He had coached Austin Freeman. But he had all these great players, but they couldn't win the championship. And so we did a switch again. So I came to Ernest Just. He went back out to Hammond, where he got the head coaching football job, and I got the head coaching job at Ernest Just. And Ernest Just, like, I'm going to quote my coach that I saw last one you do, Mike Glick. I ended up at the right place at the right time. At Ernest Just Middle School, it was a gold mine. Now, people say, you cheated? No.
Tell us where is Ernest Just?
Ernest Just in Mitchellville, Maryland.
Okay.
Mitchellville, Maryland, right up the street from Largo High School.
Okay. So Largo's it feeds into Largo?
No, it feeds into Flowers.
Feeds into Flowers.
It's in the middle of Flowers and Largo.
Okay.
In Mitchellville, Maryland, I lucked up. My first year, I had Travis Ivy and Philip Green and Dirk Larkins. And we went 12-0 that year. Went undefeated, won the middle school championship. And I got a funny story about that season as well. I had taken over from Tony McRae. They went like 10-2 the previous year with the same 3 guys I had. And so I come into the new season, the parents checking me out, they know who I am. I have no basketball background, but basic from Boys and Girls Club and the second assistant at Hammond. They didn't like me. They knew who I was. They questioning me. They yelling at things from the stands, and I'm holding fort. We playing Walker Mill at Walker Mill. Intense environment. They had a go-go band. People throwing rocks at us. We're sitting in the stands. People yelling and screaming at us. And I look up in the stands. I see my starting point guard, Philip Green. He's reading the SAT book. In the middle of all this madness, I see my starting point guard reading the SAT book.
At how old? 7th or 8th grade?
He was in 8th grade. At that very moment, I knew I was fine. I knew I had a team of kids on my team. Smart, intellectual, can handle anything. Game started. And Pam Walker Mill, they had a big guy. They had 2 good guards. One was named Mike, who played quarterback for Roosevelt back in the day. But they were really good and talented. And they had us about 6 or 7 with like 4 minutes to go in the game. And one of my best players, matter of fact, my best player at that time was Travis Ivy, my leading scorer. I had him playing the starting 4. But even though he can play 2 or 1, I had him playing the 4, but he didn't play the corner. Because I know all the shots came from him, but his father couldn't see it. Because his father was like yelling during the game, go to the ball, Travis. And I yelled out, because I talked to my parents during the games. If he goes to the ball, he's sitting down for the rest of the game. Now, I ain't probably said that nicely, but go back, sit down. So Trash finished the game. We won by like 10, and off to the season we went. We went over to the championship game where we had to face James Madison. They had a kid named Chad, who coached for New World, I think now. He was ranked in middle school. I think he was like number 7 in the country. Chad was dunking in middle school. He was awesome. And so, Chad Wilson. And so he was in middle school. So and then the night before we played them in the championship game, the same 3 fathers came to me and said, what are you going to do about Chad? Chad is a man child. No one can check Chad. Chad going to do this. And I said, well, these are your kids you talking about. These are your sons you talking about. I just coach them. And normally I never practice in the evening at Ernest Just. We always practice 7 o'clock in the morning. So from 7 to 8:30 we practice every single morning. We never practice evening because they got to go home and do their homework. I believe in homework. So the night of the game, right before we go upstairs, I said they nervous. And I told them the exact same speech their first father gave me the night before. I said, all your fathers was nervous just last night in practice. They all worry about Chad, but your fathers never said what they would worry about you. And they named 1. I got 3. Dirk, Phillip, and Trash. Who are you? And we came out, I think Trash scored 27 points in the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, the score was like 37-3. And I got them so motivated. We won that game by like 10 or 12 points. It was our first championship Ernest Just won. Even though, you had great players like Austin Freeman and Mike Beasley there. But this is the first championship we won. And I remember that year so vividly because that's my first year in middle school. And I was still a young coach because I still remember I had on sweatpants and a T-shirt at the championship game. When other coaches had on the nice suits and ties, I had to learn how to appropriately dress myself. But I remember that. So I went to Ernest Just. And then next year I had Brian Allen, Jeremy Grant, Michael Cunningham. I taught so many players that went on to have great prolific high school careers and some professional careers. It's amazing. I had the starting tackle right now at Maryland University, Damian Prince. I had him. Yannick in the group got down to Jacksonville. I had so many players. Every year it was like 4 or 5 players who made it big.
Explain to me how all of these players end up at a public middle school.
They all lived in an area.
I mean, all those people lived in that
Mitchellville,
area?
Bowie is real large. So if you live in Bowie, part of Bowie, Kane, Ernest Just, Mitchellville, Largo, all those kids filled it. At one time, the school had over 1,100 kids in the building.
Wow.
We was built for like 700, 800 kids. So it was like 1,100. My first 5, 6 years, 1,100 people there. All those, they all came to my school. And I even had Trevion Graham. Trevion Graham came to me. Also, I had Stan Robinson. I had another Dennis Stanback. Had him as well. I had a lot of prolific players in this area. You wouldn't believe I had Jeremy Grant, who played for the Sixers right now, for his first year before he went over to he drafted by the Sixers. I had Brian Allen, who played with George Mason. Yeah. I had a lot of players that come through my system.
So how long did you coach at the middle school for?
7 years.
And how many championships did you win?
4.
4 championships in 7 years. Mm-hmm. So that wraps up, and you end up at Central High School. That was your next job after middle school, right?
So funny, real quick. I really didn't apply for Central. I was still coaching Ernest Just Middle School, and I guess the guy who coaching Drew Freeman Middle, a guy named Fred House, old coaches Drew Freeman, used to put on summer leagues for middle school. So once again, to keep my kids playing, keep them active out in the community, I get my kids in the summer league. And so we're in summer league, playing games. Once again, we win the summer league too. And so I get approached by an athletic director from my high school. Like, how you ever think about coaching high school? Yeah, I don't know, but yes, I thought about going to high school. Well, jobs are open. You need to put your application in. So I came back because I'm part of this system. I work in Prince George's County schools.
Yeah, I want to talk to you after this about what you do outside of basketball, but finish with this.
So, I put in my application. I get a phone call from several schools. Hey, you want to come for an interview? I came from 2 interviews. I interviewed for the schools, and I remember right then in the interview, I was offered a job for Central. And also, later I got offered a job at another school. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to stay on this just where it's easy, it's cream in the pie? I got kids that's filtering through. I mean, even like, give you an example, like Chris Lights came through there his 7th grade year. I didn't coach. That's the year I stopped coaching. But he wanted me to coach, but I didn't coach him. So then he transferred out. Donovan Del Bobby's guard there, he came to there. People don't know how many people come through Ernest Just. All of them. So I decided to go to Central. One, I want to say, was it the talent I had? Was it or was it me? Or am I a good coach? Because hands down, you couldn't question the talent I had.
Right.
Anybody could win with the guys you had, but they had Austin Freeman and Mike Beasley before, and they didn't win.
Right.
So I'm winning with the guys I had, and I'm coaching, and I'm trying to give them more than this basketball about being a good citizen and a good student. So I made a decision, to go to high school because one of my coaches now is Timothy Hips, who was coaching Walker Mill High School at the time. Timothy Hips coached at Thomas Pullen. Timothy Tucker was at Walker Mill, and Fred House was at Drew Freeman. All of us were going to come together and support one another. But Fred House went to Flowers. He decided not to come with us. So we went to Central, and Central was 0-22 the year before I came. And I think they won one game the year before that. They were like 1-43 in 2 years. And the game they did win was about forfeit. And I walked in the gym just to see how they practice. I'm saying, like, wow. I said,
and you didn't have the job yet at this point. You were still considering it?
I was still considering it.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, what am I getting myself into? Do we really want to take this job over based on what I'm seeing here? And I was like, wow. But if I really want to say if I'm a good coach, not a good coach, I want to go. So now my mind started to shift and think, I want to go to high school. I can do this. So one day I was at an AAU game at Forestville High School. My son was playing AAU, and I was coaching AAU. And I'm looking around high school. I say, man, this gym's not that big. I can really do this. So that following school day, I called, and I accepted the job at Central High School.
So you accept the job at Central. Mm-hmm. They're coming off basically an 0-42 2-year span. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's going through your mind taking a job coming into a team as bad as they were at that time? I mean, obviously it's a challenge, but it's a pretty interesting situation to get yourself into.
So let me answer that question by going back a little bit. I was coaching AAU for a while. My little brother, Anton Parkman, who was on the #1 team in this area back in the day with Washington Hospital Center, but coached the Doc team. They were #1 in the country for like 3 or 4 years. They had Keith Bogans, him, Sherrod, Stan, Lomax kid. My brother was on that team, Daryl Green. So I was following AAU for a long time. And so by being a part of that world for a long time, there's a lot of political things going behind the scenes that go with AAU. So at this time, when I got a job at Central, I was coming out of the AAU world. I just finished coaching the Rising Stars. Alpha Bandul played at St. John's. I had him, my brother who played at Shepherd, and a few other people that I had at that time. So I was going to make that transition, get out of the AAU world, to come to high school. So going into Central, I knew that one thing I had to establish is a good coaching staff. I got to establish, one, people who I know basketball. Second thing, people who are not a yes man, who are going to challenge and push me. Also, people who have qualities that I don't have. Because later on, watching the thing, each coaching staff have a unique quality while they're part of my staff. Mm-hmm. But then also, I got to play with people with good character, good backgrounds. So I selected at that time, I believe it was 5 people. I think it was Coach Leon Cunningham. When I say big man development, connections with the college coaches, well known in the basketball area in Israel, they call him the Big Cat. If you know Big Cat, he's real known in the basketball. He has his own publications for getting kids into college, Pro Amp. We have Timothy Tucker, guards coach, who's also known a few college coaches around this area. Timothy Hips, basketball historian. He's our plays liaison. He finds plays, build plays. Our system is built on our kids. Based on every time that we get every year, we adjust our system based off Timothy Hips, and he's a videographer. He does all the camps, all the tapes, the highlights, oh my Lord, he's awesome. We also have my brother, Anton, like I said, prolific basketball player, played overseas for a few years. He played in the area, pro league area with Lawrence Pugh when they came here. We had the local team. He also a good coach as well. So I built my coaching staff, and we built it on 3 mantras: dedication, commitment, and loyalty. And my coaches didn't have it, they couldn't be around our program, because the type of kids we're serving at Central, we need to prove to them that we are there for them. We care about them, and we know we love them. Because it's hard playing for me. I'm a hard coach. If you look around, people are like, he's so mean, he's so yelling. Yeah, I do yell a lot. But look how my kids receive it, because I build relationships with my kids. And so I want kids that wants to be at Central. I don't want no kid like, I don't know, or I don't want to be here, they don't come play for me. because it's gonna be hard for me. Because I like kids who want to be at Central. You might not be A talent, B talent, C. I get like D, E talent. It's our job to make you a better talent and compete. So, you know, that's how I build my program. But dedication, commitment, and loyalty, what we put in is what we get out. And we coach our kids. We get kids who like to play basketball. We don't get basketball players. We get kids who like to play basketball. And if you like playing basketball, and you want an opportunity to play basketball, and you're a good student and a good kid, come on over to Central.
So we'll get to Central in a minute. But
Okay.
first, tell me a little bit about, you're the assistant principal at a elementary school. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about your life outside of basketball.
I'm gonna calm down because I'm not talking about basketball anymore. Two things. I'm two things. First, I'm a father and a husband. I have three wonderful kids: Nicholas, Jaden, and Zachary. I love you. My beautiful wife, Nikisha. I'm a father first. I make sure my staff, you know, and my players understand family first. With me, family first for everything. Now, outside my household, I'm an assistant principal of an elementary school. I've been here for 4 years. I've been leader of a school, ILT, 3 years prior. So totally, I've been in administration for like 7 years. I value education. Education allowed me to be who I am today. I stayed back in the 5th grade. I didn't take school seriously. And, you know, I'm a kid who stayed back in the 5th grade, couldn't really read until like the 8th grade because a teacher took interest in me. And that one teacher, Mr. Gregory Better, I'm not going to ever forget his name. I know what he did for me. I had great teachers along the way to taught the value of education. I improved so much. Like I said earlier, I went to Capitol University. So now I want to give back to my community, give back to my kids. I was a math teacher for 11 years. I taught 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. I taught algebra. I taught everything. So I'm a hard worker. I come to school every morning around 6:45. School get out of. I don't leave school till around 5 o'clock, 5:30. I have workouts. I don't leave the gym till about 10. I get home around 11. People don't see that. They don't know that. I live in Accokeek, Maryland, but I coach at Central. I work in Lanham. I do a lot of ripping and running. Then I do a lot with my kids. People are like, you spend time with your kids? I do. I know how. Lack of sleep. So I work hard. I'm an administrator, and I chose to be an administrator in elementary school so I can still coach high school basketball. Gotcha. And so my goals were either be a high school coach or administrator, and I'm both right now, so I'm living my dream.
That's great. That's great. So let's fast forward back to Central basketball. Mm-hmm. You inherit this team that is not particularly good. Last year, you guys had a great season. Take me from that first year to where you guys currently are right now.
Okay, I'm going to be kind of quick. As a coach, you pray for the kids that I have received in the past 7 years. My first year taking over, my first project, I had 6 kids in my program. People don't see that. 6 kids in the high school program, varsity and JV. And all those kids were worried that I was going to bring kids from Ernest Just to come take their position. First of all, like I told them, no kid from Mitchellville is coming to Central High School. I can tell you that now. And so, for them to believe in our program, believe and bought into the system, that first year, after going over 22, we won 9-10 games that first year.
How did you fill a roster out if only 6 people showed up the first day?
I'm not going to lie to you. Kids were coming adding on, leaving, adding on as the year went on. But I had, of course, 7 kids that stayed the whole year. James, we called him J-Mo, my point guard at that time. Probably my best player. We had a guy named Tony. Tony Robinson, called him T-Bone. He's my biggest kid. And they was my 2 seniors. And we rode their backs all the way to 9-10 games. And I still remember this year, but both of them said to me, Coach Pugh, we wish you came our freshman year. We'd have won so many more games. And I remember J-Mo said, thank you, Coach. I love you so much, because he said I won so many games in my last year that I won all together, my first 3 years. And we beat some teams that he never beat before.
Right. We
beat Douglas that year when they had Tim Washington. Oh, they were loaded with the Glover kid. We beat Largo that year. They had the guy went to Howard. They had the point guard with the Duquesne.
Yeah. And
we beat them that year, and they did better than us, position by position, but we beat them that year. We had some great victories that year, our first year.
Derek Colton.
He awesome. Oh, my gracious, awesome guard. Yeah. and we beat them that year. And so they were so excited. And the school thought we won the championship that year. We just winning 9-10 games. We set a losing record like 9-11 or 10-12, one of the two. The following year, we had a sophomore guard named Calvin Lovett. And at that time, we said we're gonna make Calvin Lovett our focal player for the next 2 years to be our player, rock behind him. And it's just fortunate we had a guy named Davon Taylor, his sophomore year, that came in his sophomore year, but he was there his freshman year, played JV his freshman, but he came on varsity his sophomore year. And we built behind Calvin Lovett and Davon Taylor, and we let them two lead the program for the next 2 or 3 years. We had a guy named D. He was pretty good as a point guard. We had a guy named Phil Poteet, who was like a guy who transferred from Wise. And so, in 1 year, we went from 9 games.
Someone transferred from Wise to your school?
Yes. Oh, we had later on guys from Wise, DeMatha.
Well, we'll get to transfers in a minute. That's a hot topic in PG. Continue with the trajectory of Central.
So from 1 year, first year we won 9 games. Second year we won 13 games.
Okay.
And during that year we had like a hot freshman, Keontae. We got hurt. Davon couldn't play, academic ineligible, so we lost the first round of the playoff. It hurt us a lot. But that's going into Calvin's my 3rd year, his senior year. That we really made a jump. We won like 16 games that year. Beat a lot of teams. Calvin was one of the top guards in his area. He was highly recruited, but he struggled a little bit academically because at that time, our kids didn't understand NCAA rules and all that good stuff, clearing house and not getting cleared, not taking a test, and slouching their first 2 years in high school. And so, luckily for him, but he still wound up with a scholarship at Washington Adventist. Matter of fact, he got 1 more year. He's still playing. He got 1 more year right now. He's going to finish up in grad school at Washington Adventist.
Nice.
So that year, we went 15, 16 games. Calvin led to the second round of the playoffs, and we won that many games in a while. But we knew we were going to do great. But we knew the following year, which was my 4th year, we knew we had a team that can go all the way to the playoffs, which we did. We won like 18 games that year. Who was the area's leading scorer? If you go back, Davon Taylor was one of the top 2 or 3 scorers in this area. He was averaging 25 points a game. He led us to like 17, 18 victories. We won 1A, I think. 1A. Okay. We had we only played 6 guys that year. Davon Taylor, D, Kenneth. We had a kid transfer from a game from Oxon Hill, Gary, and a big tall kid named John. He had one junior off the bench named Andrew Wimbush. We played those 6 kids, and we rolled with them 6 kids all the way to, we won a regional championship, the first one in school history. And you hope you should be showing pictures of that right now. First time we was excited, and we went to the championship game, and we lost to the state champs, Emerson.
Oh, Emerson.
And actually, we should have beat Emerson that night. We missed 17 free throws.
I remember.
And we lost by like 5 or 6.
I remember that game.
We missed 17 free throws.
Who did you beat in the semifinal game that year? Do you remember?
Newtown. They had that guard that went to Central Connecticut. Davon gave him 30.
Okay.
Oh my gracious! But yeah, Davon, to me, one of the best guards. Him and Calvin was probably the best guards that ever come out of Central.
And this was 2014.
Yes.
Okay.
So after that, we had a down year the following year because we lost all those seniors, and so we only won 4 games the following year. But that still was the 4 games. We were still able to get a kid in college, Andrew Wimbush, and Southern Vermont, Division III school way up in Vermont. So it was pretty successful, but we were still young.
Right.
So the following year, we won. I started sophomores that year. That year we won 4 games. And so now they're juniors. They went from winning 4 games to 15 games.
This is like Trent's class.
It's Trent's class.
Okay.
So Trent, Tim, Giovanni, Deontay, all of them, when they were juniors, they went 15 games.
Okay.
And so we went from 4 to 15 games. And we knew at the end of that junior year, our last walkout, our last meeting as a team, we decided which one be your goal for next year. By man, each one said Comcast. But we going to know it as Xfinity Center. But we still call it Comcast in my gym. So we say Comcast. So from that moment on, everything we did from that point on, it was to get to Comcast. If you're not studying tape, watching film, lifting weights, running, playing games, going out, you're not doing enough. If I'm not pushing my coaches, getting hard on my coaches to be hard on my players, I'm not doing my job. If every practice is not scheduled to a T, I'm not doing my job. I'm not getting you guys. That year, I decided to do the Math of Summer League. I decided to do certain things. So when we went to Math, we won 6 games. Now, we lost 3 or 4 games because all my players weren't there, but we got that competition. And so we decided to do thematic because we know what our goal was. Then fall league, one fall league. So a senior year, last year, was a magical season. We won we only lost 3 or 4 games. So we won all the games. And I think Tim, Trent, Giovanni, Deontay all stood out. And Angelo, Isaacs, they all stood out, had a great senior years. And all of them playing basketball right now at the next level, at some level.
How many?
All of them. I had 8 seniors last year. All of them are playing basketball now.
Wow, that's impressive.
I mean, from Central High School, I think it is impressive. I think every single year that we've been in school, every single year we got somebody in college. And everybody's not going to play college basketball. And you have to be real with kids. And, some kids, you come a long way in 4 years at Central, but you're still not a basketball player. Mm-hmm. And you understand there are kids who play basketball 365 days of the year who are basketball players. And everyone's not going to be a D1 talent. Guess what? A free education is a free education.
For sure.
And then if you do play for education, part education, you still want to play college athletics, you still have the opportunity as well. So luckily, right now, all my seniors is playing basketball from this point on.
So walk us through last season.
Okay. Last season, we knew it was going to be kind of I don't want to say a relaxed. I didn't have the coach last year. I had great leadership. I had senior-led team. They knew the system. They was in the system for 3 years. They knew everything. They knew how to play with each other. All they had to do was manage it. Don't mess it up.
Right.
I had to manage everybody getting their playing time. Everyone worried about playing and scoring. They was unselfish and selfish at the same time.
What are some of the games that stick out to you from last year, like regular season and then into the playoffs?
Okay, let's go to this. There's a few games that stuck out for me. Now I'm going to say the one that's still on my mind to this day. Grand Park. I made a mistake. I overcoached at Grand Park and I cost us the game. We should have beat Grand Park by these 25 points. We was up by 17 at one point. And what I did, I decided to hold the ball. And one time I held the ball for about 8 minutes straight. I just had my Tim just hold the ball for 8 minutes. Literally 8 minutes. And he got plugged and they came back. Then we came back and took the lead with 3 seconds to go and face on through a Hail Murray shot and made the shot. But my team should never be in that predicament if I make those dumb bonehead decisions. Because we had the better team up and down the floor, running the floor, and I slowed my horses down. That team, and that night, I had to tell my players they were upset. They were mad, and they were disappointed in me. And as a coach inside the locker room, I let them know they didn't lose that game. I lost that game. And as a coach, as I reflect, I have to be honest with myself as a coach. I made terrible decisions that night. I made bad coaches moves that night. And I didn't want my kids to own that on them. So I made sure they understood that was me. That was one game that's one game I want to take back and let them go and let them play. Because we know Coach Glick liked to run the box and 1 and triangle and 2 deep offense. And we knew they were going to run it against Trent and Deontay, and we was prepared for it. And we was winning in the game earlier. But why I stopped doing it, I have no idea. Another game that stood out was the Tall Oaks game, because I got a lot of flack from the basketball world out there. Why am I beating them on teams by 100 points? If you come watch the tape and watch the film, I give it to you for free. My starters only play for the first 4 minutes of their game.
Some people probably don't know what you're talking about. Can you expand on that a little bit?
The Tall Oaks game, we beat them by 100 points. So in the paper and the basketball world and the little news feeds and the AU thing, the coach at Central should be fired. He beat on kids like that. He just doing that. He shouldn't be doing that. And I'm saying these people who wasn't even watching the game. I made my players pass the ball these 5-6 times before a shot went up. I took my starters out the first 4 minutes of the game. So I had 2 freshmen in the game, a sophomore, and 2 juniors. These kids who never played. So when they get a opportunity to play, they're going to play. I can't just tell them to hold the ball. That's disrespectful to the other team and other players. So I did put rules into play. No fast break points. You must pass the ball at least 3 to 4 times before you shot. I can't help that. And so that's never getting stood up because I took a lot of flack because we beat the team so bad.
Right.
But it wasn't my issue. That's why the coach and other team thanked me and wanted to play me again because he knew I wasn't trying to embarrass him. Another game that stood out for me coming out when we went to Morgan University, Basketball Academy.
Yeah.
And down there, we went down there. Kids got an awesome experience. We could sit down and talk about like TAs, college TAs, where they could sit in the class. We learned about technology in one of our classes. They were able to ask questions, build little posters about themselves, talk about the real world. And then also we get to play on the college campus in front of college people. But we won by like 20. The second game was kind of early. Then they cut it in, but we won convincingly. I think Trent and Deontay have a great job. Deontay won most valuable player for both of those games in that tournament down there for our division. That was an awesome experience for our guys and our players. And so I'm glad we had the opportunity to do that and travel.
Prior to Comcast, was that the only game you played on a 94-foot court last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Other than that, other great games, the games that stood out, Potomac game. Coach Potomac. That was tough. We beat the first one, but we lost in the second game, and it was a tough game. They were really motivated, really good, well-coached team. Certain teams, Potomac, Grand Park, they really make you think and make you coach and prepare as a coach.
Yeah.
And then my last final game that really stood out was the Douglas Championship game, regional final game to win the region. To go to the regional game.
Tell me about that game, because both of you guys had pretty darn good teams this past year.
Yeah. Well, see, this is what I'm going to be honest. I'm talking to you, Marc Stern, with this one as well. No matter how good Central is, we don't give respect. Just put it mildly. Because y'all look at players, don't look at our coaches and system. I mean, I think my team can play with anybody because I think they're a well-coached team. Now, we're not going to beat everyone because their talent level is much better, but they're a well-coached team. At this time, we may be 17-2, 18-3, or 19, whatever, and we only lost 2 games. And 2 teams we lost to were pretty good themselves. And Douglas, they lost 1 game or 2 games. They Douglas. They have the name. They have the name coach. They got the name organization, and they represent or connected to a name AAU team. Guess what, though? They got to strap on their shoes like everybody else. And they coach. I respect Birds, my man. Got coach just like everybody else. And so going to that game, no one gave us a chance. The whole season, Trent, I got 5 or 6 guys averaging double figures. Come on. I got 5 or 6 guys that letting you know we play as a team. Not one player going to beat us. Not 2 players going to beat us. We got players as a team. We share the ball, and we know how to play basketball. My guys last year, that's better. They know how to play basketball. So that game, yes, Douglas, way bigger. Yeah, they got Zion in the middle. They got the monsters that can dunk and jump. Donald, Carey. Awesome. Great players in their own rights. Great. But guess what? We played together. No matter how many runs Douglas went on, we knew we could make our run. Our run's going to be bigger than their runs. Our guys understand the game of basketball. Guess what? Let's put ourselves in positions where we feel good about ourselves so at the end of the game, we can make a play to win the game. And we got to make that game. Give you an example. I don't know if you watch the tape. 4th quarter, like 4 minutes to go in the game, 3 minutes, we down. And I think Giovanni Brown's at the free throw line shooting free throws. Giovanni Brown missed almost free throws all year long. But he made all his free throws this game. And at one point, you see me pull Trent Dixon to the side, who's my leading scorer at this time in the whole season. And he's been quiet for a while. I say, Trent, it's going to come in this time in this game when you have to come down and take that 3 because we down. We're going to need it. You got to take that 3. I don't care who's in front of you, who's checking you. He took a 25-foot three-pointer that either tied the game or we went up by 1 or 2 points, and he called the timeout. We go back in the 4th quarter and watch it. Right before that, minutes before that, I put him to the side and told him, players got to make a play. I can't play for you. It's my job to put you in a position to make that play. And he had the mannerism to take that shot and believe in this shot, and he made that shot. And the first thing he said on the sideline was, "Thank you, coach." I said, "No, son, thank you." Then let's finish this game. But that was a big game for our program. That's a big game for our kids.
You guys ended up winning that game.
We won, and I'm telling you, we won that game. It was an exhausting game because they beat us early in the season.
Right.
They beat us early in the season. They beat us when Deontay and Trent wasn't playing.
All right, Coach. So take me through the playoffs this past season.
Oh, the playoffs was a breeze. We knew we can get this Comcast. We get through Douglas. But so the first 2 playoff games was crossing it. I think we beat them by like 40 points because we were really motivated. I think the Coach Perry was talking trash to one of my players at an outside venue. When my player came back saying, "Carlson said we in trouble." we want to prove the point to Coach Perry that, you know what, we still Central. So we want to make a proof of point. He's a great coach, great guy, my man, but we had to prove a point that you were nowhere near us last year. So we beat them by 40. Next game was Largo. We knew Largo, Coach Howard, he knew he had another well-coached team, always ready to play, aggressive. And so we knew it was going to be a tough game, but we know we could beat Largo. We know they didn't have enough firepower to compete with us. So I think we beat them by like 10, 9 points. But it was a good game. But I don't think it was ever close, though. I think they probably cut it down towards the end, and I subbed it at the end. Then was Douglas. I just talked about Douglas a few minutes ago. Douglas was a tough game. No one expected us to beat Douglas. Everyone expected Douglas to be in the state championship game or the state regional final game. We played together, the team stayed together, and we beat them by 3. Coach Bird had the team ready and prepared. Great coach. I enjoy going to Coach Bird because he always keep me on your toes. Then we went to Westlake, the regional championship. We knew that if we beat Westlake, we accomplished our goal. Our goal was to get to Xfinity Center. We one game away. I think my seniors that game, I lied to you not. I didn't have the coach in practice. I didn't have the coach doing that. If you watch the film of that game, you see me sitting down a lot of time because the kids I didn't have to do anything. And then also once again, one of the Westlake players' fathers and I get our haircut at the same place. They talking mad stuff. And so once again, I put that back to my players. They wanted to prove a point to Westlake that, no offense, but PG County have great ball players here. And so I think we beat them we was up by like 25, 26 points the whole game. But I think we won by like 15 or 16 points toward the end. Got to pull my dogs out. But then we went to state. And this is where we made a mistake. We played Century. We knew they had 2 players, the inside and the guard.
The little lefty guard?
The little lefty guard. We knew of him before. We knew he averaged like 25, 26 points a game, and the other guy averaged like 18, 17 points a game. When we said, let's stop one of them. Let's stop one. And I said, let's stop the one on the inside. Because with his points, he get a lot of rebounds, second chance shots. And also, and I always have him on. And that's the guys. Let's close out, get out there. The man can hit all those shots off 3-point line. 17, 18 years old. Let him do it. That night against Century, he did. he was 16 from 16 from the free throw line. He didn't miss 2-3 shots. He ended up like 32, 34 points. The other kid who averaged 17, 18 points only had like 4 or 5. He was in foul trouble. So we actually did that job. However, I made coaching moves. That game, I benched one of our starters.
For the whole game?
For the second half. When we came...
Because of like game flow strategy or because of disciplinary reasons?
Disciplinary reasons. It's more than basketball with me. It's more than basketball.
You didn't play him in the second half?
Yes.
Why the second half and not the first half?
Because it wasn't started off that way. But coming out... You have to think about it. In the first quarter, they jumped on us by 19, 21 points.
Right.
So in the first quarter, score was like something like 23-3, 23-5, something like that. It was up by about 20 points quick. So if you remember, halftime we cut it all the way down to 4 or 3 points. And during the second quarter, I had benched him during the second quarter because.
Was this something he did prior to the game?
No.
Oh,
it was during the game.
Okay.
It was during the game, during timeouts.
Gotcha.
Following directions. And so sometimes, as we go through adversity, how you act during that adversity makes you the type of man you're going to be. And once again, I'm teaching, not coaching. I'm teaching young men how to deal with adversity during times of stuff. So that's why so many of us in trouble now. So I had to bench him. But luckily in the second quarter, we still made a run with him on the bench. So coming out in the third quarter, okay, everything's fresh. Every day, every quarter is a new quarter. It's fresh. Let's go. Let's go. You ready? So, he's doing the thing, but not looking at me, no eye-to-eye contact, not reaffirming, he hearing what I'm saying. So you're not ready to play. So I got to go with another senior. And the other senior, he played his heart out, played as well, but he can't give me what the other kid can give me. Because if you remember in that game, and it's like 2 or 3 minutes ago in the game, we down 1 point, and Deontay Cook makes a steal in the open court, but they call it a foul. And if he makes that steal, I don't know, till this day, I still don't see the foul. The referee made that foul call, we win that game.
Tell me about the comeback you guys had in that game. I remember the atmosphere in there was crazy.
Yeah.
You guys, I think you turned them over a bunch of consecutive times. You got a bunch of steals that led to transition points.
So what I did was I realized there was only one kid controlling the point guard with the left hand. So one that get the ball out of his hand. When the ball got out of his hand, we're gonna box one and still him like glue. So when we do score or don't score full court, we're gonna put the pressure on him full court. And I started that late in the third and fourth quarter. If I did that all full quarter, we win handily. But third and fourth quarter, I went up the tempo, make him tired. We can play both sides of the floor and take the ball out of his hands and force somebody else to win the game. Nobody else can win the game for them. If you go back in the end of the game, the left-hand kid still made plays for them at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. How, I don't know. But so the comeback, we up the tempo. We made him work both sides of the floor, and we tried to take the ball out of his hands as much as possible so we can put the pressure on other kids, and we got a lot of steals because of that. And I still think to this day, if that steal was made towards the end of the game, but Deontay Cook, we win the game easily. But my kids never quit. They kept fighting, and that's the mark of a great school, great program, great kids, great parents, great everything. And the sad thing, they bonded together. They fought together. When he was down 20, 25 points early in the game, they could have quit, hung their heads, but they kept fighting. And that is the true spirit of Central High School, all the way down to the principal, the teachers, the players, the parents, the volunteers, the coaches, that we all stick together as one big happy family over there. And the best thing I didn't even say to my kids this year, most of them are AP or IB students. 3.0 students are awesome. So it was great coaching this past year.
So the last time you guys went to Comcast, you had kind of a hangover effect. The next season, you won 4 games. Mm-hmm. This past year, you went to Comcast. In addition to that, I think you graduated, I don't know,
9 kids.
And they were all, I mean, your best players are all gone.
I got no returning players on my team.
How are you going to avoid another hangover season?
Last year, I had 3 kids on my team that didn't play, that practiced with those kids. They played a few games with blown out team, but they played a few, but not like on a high level. Dominique, Kiwan Frager, who's a freshman, going to be a sophomore next year, and probably my best player coming back next year, Devontae Young. He's going to be a junior next year. He's about 6'7", 6'8". We're going to be young, but I think we're talented. Once again, I'm trying to build my program the same way that I did Tim, Trent, and Tenement. They 10th grade year won 4 games. But we projected to win like 8, 9 games this year with the talent we have. And all of them are either a sophomore or a junior. I have one senior come back next year, which is starting center last year, Austin Wimbush. He's the only senior next year. He's my starting center. So hopefully, with Devontae and Austin leading the way, 6'8" and 6'4", I got some. PG County, that much size, and then we're not playing the math every night, or Gonzaga or St. John with 7, 8 guys. But in PG County, those 2 should be a big help on the boards and scoring down low, getting us second opportunities. We can help us have a better season after the year.
I want to talk to you a little bit about transfers. You've mentioned transfers a couple of times during the course of this interview. Mm-hmm. Transfers is an incredibly hot topic in PG County basketball and in DMV basketball right now. With so many elite private schools, there's always kids transferring, and there's a lot of kids that transfer within PG County with open enrollment. Where are you at with transferring?
Today's basketball player is different in this county right now with transfers. With me at Central, you say elite private schools. I can't even. I don't even get a chance to worry about the elite private schools. I worry about the elite public schools, the Wises, the Flowers, the Bowies. I'm trying to keep kids who live in my zone at Central. No, they not going to private schools. They're going to other public schools.
Is that a big issue that you've had to combat?
Oh, for me, for Central, yes. I mean, if you don't really do your homework and know what's going on at Central, the perception of Central is the old perception of Central. People don't know that we went to states twice at Comcast. States twice. We won 2 regional championships at Central. That's feeding itself. So transferring, it is a high issue in the county with kids going to private schools or kids not going to the area school because they want the best situation for themselves. And to me, I understand that. I truly understand you want your child to be in the best situation for themselves. But today's age, the kid got to make the mark wherever they go. Because no matter where you go, if you're good enough, people going to find you. And I think if I not be that kid to put that school on the map, and that's why I love people like Calvin Lovett, J-Mo, Devon Taylor. They stayed at home. Calvin Lovett could have went to Douglas. Straight up, being honest with you. Because Devon Taylor could have went somewhere else. Because somebody else in his class went somewhere else with the Douglas, but he stayed at Central. Trent could have transferred. Tim could have went to the Potomac School. Deontay left to Plainsboro for a year, but he came back to finish. Giovanni could have left, but these kids stayed at Central, and look at all the success they had because they were able to play and show their talent, and they all playing college football, basketball. So transfer is a big talent, but today age, with open enrollment, even Central has open enrollment, but no one wants to come to Central. They don't know the program. We have an IB program, Junior ROTC, we have AP. We have so many different programs at Central that we can offer your kid on the academic level that most people don't even want to see it because they see it as an older type of building. Hopefully, Fairmont Heights, we got a new building. We'll get kids come to that building because it's an old building as well. Hopefully, Central's on next on the list. But Central is a wonderful school with high academics. IB is one of the highest educations you can get in high school in this country, and we offer that at Central, but people don't know that because the perception of Central. It's not a good perception in Central, but we're trying to change that around through basketball.
You talked about your assistant coaches at the beginning of this interview a lot. I'm curious how many of those assistants you started with 7 years ago are still with you now?
All of them.
All of them. How do you retain all of your assistants in a day and age where a lot of assistant coaches want to get that opportunity to be a head coach or want to improve their situation so one day they can be a head coach?
That's a good story. Really quickly, I treat them with respect. They're head coaches and they're right. I know 3 of them can be head coaches right now any way they want to be. I know one of them was offered something this year. I know one was offered something 2 years ago. They all turned it down because they respect what we got going on at what we have going on at Central. I allow them to be leaders. And I don't micromanage. We have our meetings. Do what you're supposed to do. You coach the big, you coach the smalls. It's your job assignments, your daily work. And they like what we do. So I'm not on them like that. We share responsibility as a family. Also, when as a leader, I gotta be a good server as well. So I serve them too. There are times where you go back in the years, they gotta coach a game where I sit the bench. They be the head coach. I sit on the bench and I assist them. Fall league, summer league, I let them coach. I don't even sit on the bench. I sit in the stands. I let them control the games and the teams during those years, during those times. So I respect them. They respect me. They know who I am. They know my heart. They know what I'm about. I'm about kids. And I'm about kids doing the right thing. I'm also about men. So they understand I can't be a coach. My son got a prize. Man, go to your son. I understand, coach, but I need certain things. And they always come through. As long as they communicate, we communicate very effectively, and we work real well together. And once again, I don't have no yes men. They tell me. I don't agree. Our first year when we played Oakland Mills with Greg Whittington, they went to Georgetown.
Yep.
I did 29 points a game that year in high school. We played them in the second round of the playoffs. We should have beat them. We had the right game plan. And I listened to one of my assistant coaches. They watching this tape. They know what I'm talking about. He said, go back with this kid. I want to go with another kid. But I listened to him because they see what I can't see sometimes. I got to trust them, and I do trust them. But it's awesome. I enjoy having them, and I appreciate them. We added some coaches here and there, but my core are still with me.
All right, Coach. Last thing I want to ask you, question I've asked every coach in this series. If there's a pickup basketball game today with all the coaches in the DMV, who would be your first pick?
My first pick will be an assistant. I'm going to give you 2. Will be an assistant coach, which would be Coach Antar Parkman, which is my brother, and Coach Leon Cunningham. I have a guard and a big man, and I think those 2 can beat anybody. But as a head coach, I'm picking 2 people. I would coach someone that I saw play in high school, Tremaine, the new coach at Bowie. Okay. Tremaine. At high school, he was one hell of a guard. He was really good at Parkdale. And another one would be Eric Singletary, coach at Sitwell. Watching him play as well, he was another. I don't know Eric Singletary personally or coach with him at all, but I remember just watching them play in high school. He was one great player. And so I got started the game. Them 2 guys still kind of young, still active. I would pick them 2. Good to go. I was gonna pick you, Rob, and Ron, and Raynard, but I think y'all kind of old school, so
Coach Pugh, that about wraps it up here. We really appreciate you giving us some time, giving us a little glimpse inside the life of yourself and of the Central basketball program, which I know you've brought to respectability, to say the least. The last thing I want to do is just give you the floor to talk about anything that you think is important. I know you don't have an outlet to talk to, the DMV basketball masses. So whatever you have to say, the floor is yours.
I want to say it's been a privilege to coach at Central High School. I've been there for 7 years. I'm trying to change the perception around the image of Central High School around, and I really enjoy it. We have great kids at Central. We have a great staff and leadership at Central as well. You know, sometimes being a head coach on the sidelines, you know, you take a lot of the criticism and a lot of the things. We should be. That's what we sign up for. But I just hope that times parents and teachers and players can see all of the work we put in behind closed doors, the time and energy we put in, and the money we put in. PG County is a hotbed of athletes, and it's a privilege to coach kids in the same county where the world is starting to find out what type of talent we have here. I have a few coaches that I want to shout out and thank them for all the mentorship they did for me in my past 7 to 8 years. One I'm going to start out with is Coach Glick, Mike Glick at Glen Park. Every time I call him or text him or email him, he always responds and give me answer and feedback. He understands what this coaching fraternity should be. He looks out for me. And I want to say, Coach Glick, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for you. You know I stole a lot of things from you. That's why we successful. That's why our games are always competitive. I try my best to be ready for you because I got to think about it. Also, another coach that I just talked to for years at a time, you know, we don't talk that much anymore at Flowers, is Coach Brian Brooks. I respect him too. He always fed me good knowledge and talked to me, helped me out. Back in the day when playoffs started, his team was out, he was always texting me strategies during the game time. I look at it at halftime, but he's another guy that really helped me out, Coach Brian Brooks. And the one, my man, I talk him time to time, I'm glad to see him back, Coach Raynard from Potomac. That's my man. We talk all the time. Anytime Raynard, I need Raynard, he's there. We talk. You know, I just know that Potomac going to be ready next year because he's a hell of a coach. I want to thank you, Raynard, for always being that taking that time and talking to me and listening to me as well. So that's all I want to say. I love coaching basketball. I'm not going to do this forever, but I'm going to let you all know. My last thing I'm going to say to you about basketball, don't define me as a coach. I'm an educator. I can leave coaching tomorrow and not think about it ever again because I don't live, sleep, and eat basketball. I live, sleep, better educating young men to become productive citizens in this world. How to use athleticism, competitiveness in the real world. That's what we do all day, every day. Not get them in school, not to win basketball games. Because guess what? One day you got to be a productive citizen in this world. And everything's not going to go your way. How you going to work as a team, how you going to deal with certain situations and circumstances, and how you going to go from there.
All right, Coach. We really appreciate it. It's been great catching up with you. And we can't wait to see what Central basketball.
Baby.
Can't wait to see what Central basketball has in store next year.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.